The Huawei P30 Pro is the best smartphone when it comes to photography. The Huawei P30 Pro is so close to being the best smartphone right now, and for some people it's already in the top spot. It's the best phone we have used when it comes to photography with 5x and 10x zoom capabilities and fantastic low light performance. The large 6.47-inch screen on the P30 Pro may only have a full HD Plus resolution, but it's bright, clear and colorful, providing an excellent canvas for your apps and games. The Huawei P30 Pro packs a 4200 mAh battery, which is larger than those in pretty much all of its rival. The Huawei P30 Pro packs in a Kirin 980 chipset and 8GB of RAM, giving the handset plenty of power under the hood. This means the P30 Pro is capable of handling any app you throw at it, with fast load times and the ability to render graphically demanding games such as PUBG on the highest settings without skipping a bit. There's no worry when it comes to P30 Pro potentially running out of juice. The battery life here is excellent. The Huawei P30 Pro's standout feature is its camera setup. It's the feature Huawei is marketing the phone around, and for good reason, as a camera phone it's excellent. On the rear, you will find a quad camera array comprising of 40MP main sensor, 8MP telephoto camera, 20MP ultra-wide-angle lens and time-on-flight depth sensing camera. The cameras of P30 Pros sets a new standard for the entire mobile industry. Its 4 rear cameras are quite simply astonishing, the design is eye-catching and powerful. It is providing good 5x and 10x zoom, and a digital 50x zoom which gets you insanely close to the objects far off in the distance. Its low light capabilities are also top-notch. The P30 Pro not only sets a new standard for Huawei, it sets a new standard for the entire mobile industry. It's a true flagship. This is the top phone with plenty of power. The Huawei Mate 20 Pro is still one of the best phones from the Chinese firm to date, offering up a heavy mix of design, power and performance with a few party pieces thrown in too. It builds on the P20 and P20 Pro, offering up even more screen-enhanced triple rear cameras and an in-display fingerprint scanner. This phone have Kirin 980 processor and it's the first 7nm chip on any Android phone. The Mate 20 Pro have 6GB of RAM and 128GB of storage. You can expand the storage to a maximum of 256GB. It has a 6.39-inch display, giving you a huge amount of space for gaming and movies, and its QHD resolution and HDR10 support ensures everything looks great. You will get great battery life from the Mate 20 Pro, and we regularly achieved a day and a half of usage from a single charge during our review time. This phone comes with 3 cameras on the rear, adding the excellent 40MP wide angle and 8MP telephoto lenses from the P20 Pro, but the third sensor is new. It's an ultra-wide 16MP snapper, allowing you to capture even more of your surroundings into each shot. The Mate 20 Pro is a full-featured phone for a full-featured price. The Honor 20 Pro doesn't look particularly different from any standard Android phone. The Honor 20 Pro looks, feels and runs like a premium smartphone, but without the polish or the hype, and most importantly without the price tag. It's a sleek and powerful mid-range smartphone. The phone have 6.26-inch screen and uses LCD Full HD Plus tech. This phone has an impressive 91.6% screen-to-body ratio. The power button and fingerprint sensor are one and the same. This phone have 4000 mAh battery and could easily last for a day. It supports 22.5 watt fast charging. The Honor 20 Pro's camera setup is one of its biggest selling points. This phone have 4 cameras. The 4 cameras are as follows: a 48MP 1.4 aperture main snapper with optical image stabilization, a 16MP sensor with a wide-angle lens, an 8MP sensor with a telephoto lens and OIS, and a 2MP macro camera. On the front, there is a 32MP selfie camera which generally take high-quality pictures. Like most Honor devices, the 20 Pro also comes with Magic UI 2.1 on top of the Android 9.0 Pie OS. This phone have Kirin 980 chipset and 8GB of RAM. There is a 256GB of internal storage also. Huawei Nova 5 smartphone was launched on 21st June 2019. The phone comes with a 6.39-inch touchscreen display with a resolution of 1080 by 2340 pixels at a pixel density of 403 pixels per inch and an aspect ratio of 19.5 by 9. Huawei Nova 5 is powered by a 1.88 GHz octa-core high silicon Kirin 810 processor that features 2 cores clocked at 2.27 GHz and 6 cores clocked at 1.88 GHz. It comes with 8 GB of RAM. The Huawei Nova 5 runs Android 9 Pie and is powered by 3500 mAh battery. The Huawei Nova 5 supports proprietary fast charging. As far as the cameras are concerned, the Huawei Nova 5 on the rear packs a 48MP primary camera with an 1.8 aperture, a second 16MP camera with an 2.2 aperture, and a third 2MP camera with an 2.4 aperture. And there is a fourth 2MP camera with an 2.4 aperture. The rear camera setup has laser autofocus. It sports a 32MP camera on the front for selfies with an 2.0 aperture. The Huawei Nova 5 runs EMUI based on Android 9 Pie and packs 128 GB of inbuilt storage that can be expanded via microSD card up to 256 GB. The Huawei Nova 5 is a dual SIM smartphone that accepts nano SIM and micro SIM cards. In today's competitive phone market, the Nova needs to be cheaper, but it's a fine device with no big drawbacks. The Honor View 20 is one of the first flagship phones of 2019. This phone is bold and eye-catching. A punch-hole display also gives the View 20 among the highest screen-to-surface ratios around. This phone has a rear fingerprint scanner pad on the back. This phone has a 6.4-inch screen of 1080 by 2310 resolution. It's an LCD rather than an OLED. This phone packs a 4000 mAh battery. It has two rear cameras, one is 48MP IMX586 main camera, but the second is a time-of-flight 3D camera. Cameras has an AI scene mode, which attempts to recognize the subject. You can shoot video at up to 1080p at 60fps or 4K at 30fps. In the front, there is a 25MP selfie camera. Selfie quality is good and it handles low light conditions well. This phone runs Android 9.0 with Magic UI 2.0 resting on top. This is Honor's own version of EMUI software used in Huawei phones. The Honor View 20 has a high silicon Kirin 980 chipset. Huawei's Mate 20 Pro uses the same CPU. There are two variants of this phone. One is 8GB of RAM and 256GB of storage. Another one is 6GB of RAM and 128GB of storage. There's no official water resistance, no wide-angle camera and no wireless charging. Still, the View 20 is one of the best Honor phones to date.